Welcome to the Board of Assessors meeting for March 2025. With me today is Joanne, and this meeting is being recorded. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, sign vouchers. Next up, we got, I'll let you take it, Joanne.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the was I here on February 1st? I know I
No, I
missed.
think it was just me and Conrad. I think you missed that
Yeah,
one.
okay, so we'll have
Table
to, have to table this.
Okay, I make a motion to approve motor vehicle excise tax abatements for the month of February in the amount of $77.59 and 60 cents.
Second, unanimous.
I make a motion to approve the levy of 2025 motor vehicle commitment number 2 for $232,251 and 30 cents.
Second, unanimous.
Make a motion to approve the 2025 supplemental bills in the amount of $10,202 and 69 cents.
That's real estate, right, Lisa?
That is, yes, new construction.
Second and unanimous. Old business?
Nothing old, new. I have to go before the Board of Selectmen to present my, our budget
Oh, okay.
on Monday.
Any big changes?
Anything upcoming that we need to know about in the budget? That you did
Contracts increased,
Did they?
yeah. They have every single year,
Yeah.
so. But it's our CAMA software,
Yeah.
you know, it's everything that we use. We don't really have much of a choice.
Okay. Anything that you need to be taking a class on that they're offering that to keep you more aware? Are they doing anything with solar or anything like that?
There's nothing with solar. We're taking a class next Thursday. I think that's Worcester County. I don't know it's a lot of good things. I think it's going over exemptions again, over the charitable applications,
Yeah.
just to brush up on that, and on the HEROES Act that's coming through for veterans.
Oh, okay.
So right now the veterans, it used to be that you'd have to go through the medical advisory board with the RMV
Yeah.
to get an exemption on your excise tax.
Yeah.
They would determine whether you got it or not. Now they've changed it that if you're 100% disabled service related, you're automatically exempt from one vehicle.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of those this year.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you seeing people return as far as giving the income analysis for people that own multifamilies? I've had more people talk to me. They seem to be more aware, realize it's not a threat, and sending it back. Are you seeing the same thing?
Yeah, we get it. Well, when we instilled the fines, we got a better return.
Did you?
Yeah. A lot of the commercial industrial, they'd rather just pay the fine
Yeah.
than to give their personal information. Plus, they have to pay their accountant
Yeah.
more than $250 to get that information
Oh,
for us. So
okay.
they'd rather just pay the fine.
So it's all the small multis that people are giving them.
We do over 4 units and above,
Yeah.
and commercial and industrial.
Pretty amazing, some of the prices that the multifamilies are now going for. I'm sure they're all going to be surprised. Their values have all gone up.
They've been selling for much higher as well.
And we don't have that many condos that I see a big thing happening with condos in Dudley, not much.
No. They've been pretty steady.
Yeah.
Not a lot of sales. A couple on Wysocki, but that's about it.
Yeah. Other than that, the real estate market is still puddling along, and prices will still remain a little bit higher because of lack of inventory. Not that the properties are that more tremendous, it's just there's nothing out there because of the shortage. People are tending to pay more, so that will have an impact. I'm sure that you're gonna have to go through and look at some of these values to stay ahead of the game and make adjustments.
We do the last calendar year, so for fiscal 26, we're going to use 2024 sales.
Yeah.
But because we'll do this in September of this year, we can see what the market's been doing from January to September. So if we see that it's still going up,
Yeah.
we're gonna be pretty aggressive with the values. But if we're starting to see it come down a little bit, not so much.
Yeah.
Because we don't want anybody to get slammed.
No.
So we kind of watch the market as it goes ahead and prepare for what we think it's gonna be the following year.
I've had a few people who don't understand it. Maybe you could take a minute and just give a quick summary. If I were building a house and on January 1st, all I had was my house framed, how do I get assessed on that? How do you
It
come up?
used to be that you're assessed as of January 1st on new construction. But the town adopted a chapter where we're allowed to get that 6 extra months. So for example, on July 1st, well, sometime during the fiscal year, your house is only partially complete. So say it's 30% complete on the date I go out there. It becomes 100% complete in May, and you get your occupancy. If the first value increased more than 50%, then we send you what we call a supplemental bill. It's a prorated bill per day from the date of occupancy to the end of the fiscal year.
Okay.
And it gets a little bit difficult because sometimes the builder still owns it and they sell it a week later. So I have to make 2 bills, one for the builder with
Yeah.
a letter explaining
Yeah.
everything, and then the new owner. So the builder will owe probably just a small portion,
Yeah.
and the rest is on the new homeowner.
Okay, interesting. I've had a few people ask about that, and I said, hey, better you should have them doing that than all of a sudden you get slammed with one big bill and you go, oh my God, where'd this come from?
The only advantage is on January 1st, in the old days, if you didn't start building and you started building on the second day, you're still just getting billed for land.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you would make out back then, but that's about it.
Well, couldn't you wait till July 1st then?
For,
If you're only going up to June 30th, right?
I have to go to the end, include June
Oh,
30th
yeah,
as the
yeah,
last
yeah,
day of the
that's right.
fiscal year, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why some of the bills, supplemental bills are getting sent out in July and August.
Yeah.
Because I have to wait to get that occupancy. I have to wait till June 30th to make sure there's no new construction occupancies.
Yeah.
And then I have to bill them after the end of the fiscal year.
Okay.
I used to wait and do them all at once. Now I'm doing them in batches.
Yeah.
So I usually have like 3 batches a year.
I would think you're getting more where you have people doing work to their houses, so you have more things that you have to update the cards on, go back, and then if it has to be inspected, if it's, let's say it's a deck or something, to catch up on all of that, because people are staying put. They're trying to do some improvements to their house, but that makes more work for the assessors department.
Right. And sometimes it's hard to get in to inspect because people work during the day.
Yeah.
So we do the best that we can. But yeah, there's a lot of remodeling going on. There's people putting on in-laws
Yeah.
rather than building.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
Do you have any new accessory dwelling units now that that law's in place?
well,
They just came out with a state law that allows accessory units on your property in February 1st, I think it was.
so I don't know anything about that, but the way I look at it is if you add on, if you put in apartment in the basement,
Yeah.
an in-law, so you can access from the top floor. It's like a wide open plan. You're just separated by an unlocked door. I consider that an in-law.
Okay.
If you build an addition to the house and you can get from the house to the in-law, it's considered an in-law, and they're not allowed to collect rent. That's why it's called an in-law.
We've always had accessory units in Dudley. The key thing was you had to share a joint access going in, is what it amounted to.
So like if you walked into a 2-family, you walk into the hallway, but there's 2 separate entrances and
Correct.
2 separate exits.
Yeah. So accessory has always been around, and an accessory unit can be rented. That's not the same as an in-law.
Right.
And a lot of towns do not have in-law quote. Every time that use comes up, people have to get a permit again on an annual basis to continue
they?
doing that. Yeah, it's different from town to town on doing it, but I think they're beginning to realize that people are not necessarily going into new construction. Families are combining, and they're trying to be able to do that, and they're also looking for extra income, so that people are trying to be able to put additional income producing units onto their property to be able to stay put. More so in the cities, I think it's a big deal because there are so many large homes that could be utilized, and they have extra buildings that are out there like a garage and trying to do an apartment over a garage. But in the smaller towns, it hasn't been the same. But we have even seen in the business more people combining households. It just is. It's the economy and it's the way of life. I think COVID made people care more about family and bringing
It's
together.
going back to like my Father's Day. he lived in a 3-decker, and it was family on all 3 floors. So
Yep.
you were always with your
Yeah.
family. That was the thing back then.
Sure.
I see that coming around again.
So over the years, I actually remember when there were no condos, when condos came about to be built. And it was about using land more effectively. And then from condos, we went to a condex, which
What's
is,
that?
condex is basically 2 units in a building. And then you still have common area, which is different than a half duplex where you each own half of your unit and half of the yard. You cannot tell it, which is interesting. I tell people that all the time. You can't tell what a building is from the outside. You really need to pull the assessor's card and go physically inside, because you could have 2 units in a building. It could be a duplex, could be a condex, could be 0 lot lines, could be a number of things. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But we're adapting. Housing, I also remember when you used to call mobile homes that you lived in a trailer, and now they're manufactured homes.
That's what they call them now?
Oh, yeah, so terminology is all different, and it's adapting to what we have to do for housing, because,
Those aren't allowed in town. Mobile homes are not allowed in town.
oh, yeah?
They're not?
I think it's in our bylaws or in I check the planning board, it might be in there.
Yeah, this guy Horn on the planning board was telling me that people are getting the mobile homes
Yeah.
as part of their accessory dwelling units in some towns.
It's
Now
cheaper.
that it's,
Yeah, well, and it used to be interesting that you were real estate if you were anchored down in a mobile home, and you were personal property if it weren't. It was how that was attached to the ground.
Oh, wow.
It's all interesting stuff, and what you see is not what you get. You really need to do the research, so. We just keep learning, and that's why I ask if there's more classes coming up, because you're the one who's got the responsibility to figure out how to assess all of this stuff.
We just went last week to our CAMA System Vision user group to brush up on some of the different tricks that they have in the software that you really don't have time to sit down and play with.
Yeah.
And they're improving it all the time and coming up with new versions, so they showed us some new things that should save us a little bit of time.
Yep, interesting.
There was a DLS webinar 2 weeks ago that I was gonna attend. It's all on the gateway system. But of course, we had that the fire on Tuesday, so
Yeah.
I couldn't attend, but I just saw yesterday that there is an actual webinar I can go on and watch,
Oh, good.
so that I can get onto Gateway. And they keep changing Gateway to make it better, but there's always glitches in it.
Mhm.
So, for example, they wanted my Mass GIS extract yesterday, and I get what they call loc ID numbers. I guess they're location ID numbers for Mass GIS, and I have to attach one of those to every parcel in the CAMA system. Well, I guess DOR wants to incorporate that into their software, so I had to do an extract and upload that to them by Jerry Crean, who is our director.
Yeah.
And he gave us the instructions, and down the bottom it says, you click on this. Well, it wasn't there. So they're requiring us to do this stuff, and there's a glitch in the system.
Yep.
So instead of uploading it to Gateway, we had to email it to Jerry, so Jerry could do it, so.
How are you holding up with just one person in our department, which has been that way for years, on being able to keep pace with what's going on for the work you've done?
It's tough, but we get it done. You know, I think there's a notice going up that the accountant is getting a paid intern. So there's Debbie, Sarah, and the paid intern. And Michelle Jervis is coming back Monday here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Debbie's still around?
Debbie, yeah, she came back.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And Rich has got a part-time girl.
I know, we have always been working at maximum capacity with minimum staff.
I
And
beg,
And the public doesn't understand. David and I are not doing the work that has to get done in the assessors. We are basically an overseeing body, review things and to look at projections, but we do not physically go in and do assessing like we did years ago, so.
And it's tough now because, well, Josh just finished, he's doing our cyclical inspections, those are done now. They're gonna come back, because they do a quarter a year, so they're gonna come back and do a few of our building permits for me. But he will come in with like 70 cards, 45 cards. So he's taken a picture of everything.
Yeah.
And at minimum, I have to put the visit history in. So I've assigned that to Kathy, because it's
Yeah.
not touching the values. But if there's an error on the card, I have to fix that. That can take me 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
with interruptions. So that 3 to 4 hours is taken away from what I normally do.
And I don't
On a
think people
regular
realize, updating those cards, that's a key thing for people like me in the real estate business. We look to see if permits have been obtained on work that was done to make sure what we're looking to put on the market has legal usage of what's been done, and then backtracking for sign-offs. And to me, the focal point is always the assessors. I said, if I have to make one stop in any town, the office I'm first gonna go to will always be the assessors, because that's where the most information on the real estate is at. And you, I compliment our staff, you've managed to remain pleasant while having to contend with people coming to the window, needing things, needing some direction, and still go back to do your work.
And playing telephone operator, because A is the first letter in the list, so.
Oh, I never even thought of that, that's true.
Yeah, so we get the collector's calls, we get the planner's calls, not so much the town clerk, mostly the collector treasurer.
Well, I know you are appreciated by a lot of people. Not everybody has had an assessor office, I think, that has run, not every town as smoothly, and it had people that have been very accommodating to the public. And I think throughout all the times we've had, shortages of help, COVID, you name it, I think we have been very fortunate. Our department has run pretty smooth.
Thank you.
To
We
hit
try.
deadlines. Well, I know for April, I can make April 11th. We'll have to see about Conrad. How about you, David?
Yeah, I'll be here.
All right, so I guess you'll have to verify it with Conrad.
Yep.
I make a motion to, does he have to read that first?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, you
Well,
read
you can vote to adjourn first. and
Okay, I
then-
make a motion to adjourn the public meeting.
Second, unanimous. Vote to convene into executive session under MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law, federal grant and aid requirement, discussion of applications of a tax abatement and/or exemptions, including any necessary votes pursuant to GL Chapter 59 and 60 or GL Chapter 214, Section 1B, as applicable, not to reconvene into regular session.
Joanne Simsack, aye.
David Durgan, aye.